You may think you're stuck in a routine that feels repetitive, stuck in a place that no longer excites you, stuck in a version of life that feels smaller than what you sense is possible. But what if you're not stuck at all? What if what you're actually experiencing is under expansion? Most people grow up believing that discomfort means failure, that restlessness means something is wrong, that wanting something different means you're ungrateful. So when you feel that quiet pressure inside, that sense that your life should feel larger, you turn it inward. You assume the problem is you. But often the issue isn't motivation. It isn't discipline. It isn't gratitude. It's environment. The place you live doesn't just house you. It shapes you. It influences your thoughts, your pace, your expectations, and what you believe is realistic. Over time, you adapt so deeply that you stop noticing how much energy it takes just to exist there. Under expansion feels like boredom, but it's deeper than that. It feels like repeating days without remembering them. It feels like constantly preparing for something that never arrives. It feels like living responsibly, but not vividly. When you stay in the same place for too long, your nervous system gets used to predictability. That predictability can feel safe, but it can also quietly dull curiosity. You stop asking questions. You stop exploring new versions of yourself. You stop imagining radically different ways of living. You don't realize how narrow your world has become because it's familiar. Under expansion doesn't scream, it whispers. It whispers through daydreams, through curiosity about other lives, through moments when you see images of other countries and feel something shift inside you without knowing why. That feeling isn't random, it's information. You are not meant to grow in the same environment forever. Just like a plant outgrows its pot, you eventually outgrow the conditions that once supported you. But instead of recognizing the need for expansion, many people blame themselves for feeling restless. They say things like, "I should be happy. I have no reason to complain. This is just how life is." But life is not meant to feel like endurance. The truth is, many people are not stuck because they lack options. They are stuck because they haven't been exposed to alternatives. You can't want what you've never seen. You can't imagine what you've never experienced. When you leave where you've always been, even briefly, you notice something almost immediately. Your mind wakes up. Your senses sharpen. Time slows down. Simple things feel meaningful again. That's not because vacation is magical. It's because novelty reactivates presence. Your brain starts forming new pathways. Your identity loosens. You are no longer reinforced by the same expectations every day. You are no longer playing the same role automatically. This is why travel changes people. Not because it's glamorous, but because it disrupts mental autopilot. Living abroad takes this even further. It doesn't just interrupt your routine, it invites you to reevaluate your assumptions. You start noticing that people elsewhere live well with fewer things, that success doesn't look the same everywhere, that urgency is cultural, not universal, that stress levels vary dramatically depending on environment. You realize that many of the pressures you thought were personal are actually local. This is a powerful realization. Because once you understand that your environment is influencing your internal state, you stop judging yourself so harshly. You stop forcing motivation. You stop trying to fix what may not be broken. Instead, you start asking better questions. What kind of environment supports my nervous system? Where do I feel more like myself without trying? Which places encourage the version of me I want to become? Under expansion often shows up as chronic dissatisfaction with no clear reason. You're functioning, but you're not fulfilled. You're productive, but you're not inspired. You're surviving, but you're not alive. You may have been taught that wanting more from life is greedy, that seeking ease is lazy, that leaving is irresponsible. But expansion is not escapism. Expansion is alignment. It's recognizing that different environments activate different parts of you. Some places bring out stress and vigilance. Others bring out creativity and calm. Some places demand constant performance. Others allow integration and balance. You are not the same person everywhere, and that doesn't mean you're inconsistent. It means you're responsive. The fear that often arises at this point is the fear of the unknown. Fear tells you that staying is safer because it's familiar. But familiar does not always mean supportive. Familiar can simply mean rehearsed. Staying in an underexpanding environment can slowly erode your confidence. You begin to doubt yourself because you're constantly swimming upstream. You feel like you have to push to be okay. That constant effort becomes your baseline. Then you assume that's just adulthood. But there are places in the world where life doesn't feel like resistance, where effort exists, but it's proportional, where rest is normal, where community is present, where time feels humane. When you experience that contrast, something inside you relaxes. You realize you were never lazy, you were tired, you were misaligned. This is why the idea of becoming an expat is not about abandoning your life. It's about expanding it. You don't lose who you are when you leave. You meet parts of yourself that never had space to exist. Under-expansion also affects how you dream. When your world is small, your imagination shrinks. You start editing your desires before they fully form. You think in terms of limitations instead of possibilities. But when your environment expands, so does your sense of what's possible. You see people living in ways you were told were unrealistic. You see different priorities in action. To follow one narrow script. That exposure alone changes you. You begin to trust yourself more. You become more adaptable. You stop clinging to certainty and start developing confidence in your ability to respond. That confidence is quiet. It doesn't announce itself. It shows up as calm. You don't need to move tomorrow to begin expanding. Expansion starts with honesty, with admitting that the life you're living may no longer match who you are becoming. It starts with releasing the belief that you owe loyalty to a place that no longer supports you. You are allowed to outgrow your surroundings. You are allowed to want more space. You are allowed to choose a life that feels alive instead of merely acceptable. If something inside you keeps pulling your attention outward toward the world, listen. That pull is not distraction, it's direction. You are not stuck, you are underexpanded. And expansion begins the moment you allow yourself to consider that your life could exist somewhere else and feel better there. If this message resonated and you're beginning to question whether your current environment truly fits you, clarity is important. The World Match app helps you understand which countries and regions align with your values, lifestyle, pace, and mindset. Instead of guessing or romanticizing random destinations, it shows you places where people like you tend to feel more grounded, inspired, and supported. World Match isn't about telling you where to go. It's about helping you understand where you fit. You can take the quiz now at worldmatch.app and begin exploring where your life may naturally expand. Sometimes growth doesn't require fixing yourself. It requires giving yourself more world.